Hey guys! As I'm walking outside and I was thinking about something, I thought I could make a video already. It is a little bit noisy. I just hope that you don't mind because I just had spontaneous things in my head and sometimes I might forget if I don't talk or say it, so then at least I'm just recording it right now. I'll probably change the background because as I'm walking and holding my phone with my hand, the camera is quite shaking, so I don't think you will like watching that when I am recording this video. So I will just see if I can use something different. And this video is about dealing with difficult people. I think everyone might experience people in their life, whether it's at school, work, internship, at home, friends groups or friends of friends, family members, anyone, neighbors who are not in alignment, like who have different thoughts, different ways of doing things, and different behaviors and traits. It also happened to me a few times, and it's just not easy to, luckily most of the time, at least in my life, I was really happy and I'm still happy that I'm really happy with the people who are in my life, but I also met people that were a bit challenging for me because of their behavior. If someone disrespects me and wants to do like bad things or like behaving in a weird way, I am not really that nice to that person. I don't want to like say bad things or anything like that. I try, most of the time, what I do is if I really don't like being with someone close, I try to be as far away from that person as possible. But of course, sometimes it's not easy and it's not always possible to stay away from someone who is just not that great, unfortunately. I've been also dealing with that in my life. And what I've learned from this is that, first of all, I think it's so good to think that the way a person behaves has nothing to do with you or me as a person. Is it that they just behave different ways that don't match with or like values or things that we like or dislike. And of course, the best way is if something really is bothering, I think what can be very good is just to ask politely if someone can maybe change certain things. Because also in my life experience, some people who are not tidy. I'm not tidy either because I have like papers everywhere in my books and I write a lot. But I like at least keeping things clean. And I've also experienced people who just leave everything dirty. If it's in their own like sleeping room, it's fine, it's their room. But if it's like in the kitchen, and it's not always easy. For me, especially because with food allergies and intolerances, I just don't like when someone leaves plates for a few days dirty and like filled up with food. Well, they could maybe eat it or put it in the trash can. It takes only maybe a few seconds to put like leftovers in the trash can. And because it happens sometimes, it depends on the food, it can also like really stick on the plate or on cup and then it's really hard to wash it. But I also had alternative in Spain. Of course, people are a bit different there than in Netherlands in a way that people in Netherlands are a bit more like individualistic, like more distant. And in Spain, we are really like I would say like warmer. But I also experienced some people who were like older, I think 50 plus. And every time they wanted to kiss on the cheeks, and it was like there were a few old men, I felt really so uncomfortable like, I need my space. You know, I need my personal space. I don't know if you have that too, but I love having my personal space. I don't like if someone that I don't know, and especially like if it's like, you know, someone who is older man just comes like that in my personal space and tries to like kiss every time. There was like one man, especially when I was working, he tried to even kiss all the girls on the mouth, and I was like, what is this? But what I learned from that is just I tried to avoid him, and when he tried it to he always wanted to greet you with kisses, like close to the mouth. So I tried to like, when he wanted to approach me, I just tried to, I think he could already see on my face that I didn't like him, so he didn't approach as much anymore. What I also experienced in Spain, I remember the first day when I arrived, and you know, I had my internship started at 9 a.m. He came at 11 a.m. I was like, wow, that's just 2 hours later. I was waiting 2 hours, you know, like at the office until he came, because I didn't have the key. So I was just waiting 2 hours like that. And that was not the only thing, because this boss, they fired him actually because of his behavior. You know, he was really good at his function, but his like ability to deal with people, you know, like handle situations in a correct way and being friendly, that was like zero. I was really low. So yeah, the first 2 weeks of my internship in Spain was very challenging. Not only of getting used of the place, almost no one spoke English, but also this first 2 weeks wasn't easy because of the boss, and he was also like, I think he was manager of the department, and he was also my boss, and he was very strict, too strict. I even had to work more than I should, which is not good. Overworking is not good, especially for internship. You are there to learn things, and putting a lot of work and like also a bit of aggressive behavior. This is something that managers shouldn't do. But I was so happy that after 2 weeks, I could go to another department of marketing, and I liked it so much better. The boss was so nice, and what I also really like is that the second boss, she also spoke Dutch and Spanish, so I felt a little bit more home because I could talk with my boss. She was so friendly, really nice boss. And I sometimes also send her a message also, you know, after I left Kennedy for Christmas, you know, to send her just a message, and she is so nice. But yeah, you know, in life I think you always meet a lot of people, and luckily most of them are really nice, but unfortunately some people aren't that friendly. And I think you know, in this case with my boss, I couldn't do much because, you know, I couldn't really tell him that he should behave like in a bit more polite way, because I didn't want to make things worse. I had to deal with him every single day, you know, and it was not that great. But luckily it was for 2 weeks. The same, like, if there are people that are not that great, maybe there are a way to not let them affect you, because at the end, if someone says something or behaves in a way that you really don't like, it has nothing to do with you, you know, it is their behavior. And I mean, I think if you can talk about it in a polite way, like, for example, if someone doesn't clean dishes, you know, and has this leftovers on the plates, you can maybe ask them, like, hey, is it okay for you to just to place the leftovers in the trash can? I think that is still a little bit more polite way, in a more positive way, to ask if they could maybe improve their habits in a more like positive and motivational way. Because if someone would like argument and really say things in when you're mad, you know, like when you feel mad and you say things, I think that can things only make even worse. So I think in a positive way can be better than in a negative way to react. And I think what I've also learned, like sometimes I can also feel frustrated or sad. I try to think, to count until 10, because most of the time when I think in general when we feel overwhelmed with emotions, we might tend to say things that we don't actually want to say, but at that time it's so hard to think that it's really hard to say things in a nice way. So I think as well, when you want to talk about a person, about certain, behaviors or certain things, I think it's always great to see if you can talk when you feel good about it. And what is also important, I think, when you know, like, okay, the person that it behaves differently and you can't really do much, perhaps this can also be a very good moment to spend more time with people who are really nice and try to be as much distant with the person as possible, I think, so then it doesn't really affect you. And if someone says something bad, you should always think that it has nothing to do with you. If someone says something really rude, it might also be a reflection of themselves, that I've been maybe dealing with certain things, or their insecurity, or maybe they just got bullied. It has nothing to do with you as a person. I remember when I was younger at high school and at primary school, I got some really stupid remarks from some people, but they were also problematic people, like they were very insecure and they had problems at home. So they told me about weird things about Slovakia, which was not even true. And then I asked her even, like, have you been to Slovakia? And then they say no. So I'm like, okay, how do you know then? It actually bugged me more, like, if someone says something really stupid about a country, but they haven't been even there yet, how do they know how the people are there if they haven't been there? So yeah, if someone, like at that time, it was kind of hard for me to stand up for myself. So when I said something like that, it was like, whoa, they didn't expect that either. Yeah, because I was very shy, and I didn't like problems. I don't like problems in general, but I didn't say much. But if someone really bugs me, I sometimes now might say something, but I try to be in a polite way or in a fun way to say something.